Hi everyone, and welcome to the Aries June 2023 weekly Tarot Bite reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot, a place for you to better connect with and illuminate your own personal spiritual importance. So hi everyone and welcome. This reading is meant to be a mini reading, about 10 minutes or less, where we're going to be taking a look at the energies for the week ahead, but more specifically in relationship to the main theme that came through in the collective reading, which was posted on Monday. So we are looking at the theme of taking a new path. So we're going to see what that means specifically for your sign here, Aries. What does taking a new path look like, and where should you focus this week on helping or to better be able to help yourself see the new path that's forming for you to start traveling towards? All right. What does Aries need to know about their new path? Oh, excuse me. So we have, I love it. It says Bat Spirit, a rebirth is assured, number 5. I love that number 5 because it's the number of change in numerology. But I like how it says a rebirth is assured. So for some of you, this may have been a long road to get to this point. And all of us are going through a kind of transformative time for each one of us in a collective sense. But for many of you, the rebirth is assured. This might have felt like a time of going through either darkness or where a part of yourself had to die away. And I'm almost getting the judgment card in the tarot coming through here. I will pull some additional clarifiers, but I get that feeling of the judgment card where you're being called up as a new version of yourself, but that new version of yourself had to go through the process of literally a version of yourself dying. Not physically, but metaphorically, meaning that, you know, maybe there's a part of yourself, this youthful, innocent part of yourself that had to die away because of the experiences you went through in the last cycle. Maybe there is a part of yourself that was the overworker, and you were, you know, always the person work, and now you're being called up to, you know, retire, or you're being called up to be the stay-at-home parent, and your work will change. You know, there's something along those lines, but this is going to be one where, with the rebirth is assured, it's that feeling of a new version of yourself that's more powerful, that's more authentic to who you are, and that it's going to be more positive this time around. Let's see, that didn't feel right. What does Aries need to know about Bat Spirit? Cards kind of are like, they're thinking about coming out. They're not quite sure about it. What does Aries need to know about Bat Spirit? Okay. So we have, there's the Death card. Yeah, for many of you, Death and Seven of Swords, this is an avoidance of releasing a past version of yourself. Whatever needs to die away. This could be a past version of yourself where you weren't confident in yourself. This could be a past version of yourself where you were the parent, but now the kids are out of the house and you get to be free to do other things than to take your kids to soccer practice and be totally focused on them. This can be where, again, like what I was saying, it could be a time period in your life where you were so focused on your career and so focused on overworking yourself, or vice versa. You were so focused on your partner and the relationship, and now it's time for you to step up into maybe getting out into the community. But there's something here around a past version of yourself that has been difficult to let go. Because when we think about why we would be avoiding letting a part of ourselves go, it's because we at one point identified as that person. We identified as the person who was seen as, you know, let's say it was just choose a random career path. Maybe you were a doctor. And you were always seen as the doctor. You were always seen as, you know, that's what you did. People, it was everything. Your whole identity was wrapped up in it. And maybe now you're retired, and you're not going into the office anymore. And anybody you meet on the street isn't going to know that you're a doctor. And suddenly now you're having to realize, like, oh my gosh, like, yes, there was a part of you that will always be a doctor, but now there's a part of you that is going to experience life from a new perspective, from a person who maybe doesn't go in to be a doctor every day, or who is no longer on call, or who's no longer tied to a job that they so, again, associated themselves with. This could also be a relationship. Maybe you were the person who's been married for 25 years and suddenly you're not married anymore. And that can be hard. That can be hard. I know for a fact, going through a divorce myself where I was with that individual for almost 15 years. Yeah, it's very difficult to sit there and look back at the 15 years and say, but that was me. That was a part of myself. And now who am I without that? But there is something coming through here very strongly, Aries, that says, if you can get past that, if you can release it, if you can look at it this week and really realize how far you've come, how much something has changed in your life to the point where you are not the same person you had been, or there is something that you had associated yourself with or had identified closely with, that this is a changing time in your life. And it's a point where you literally have a rebirth that can be coming forward here. You might have a whole second phase to your life that you didn't realize. You might have a whole another love of your life to come in. You know, sometimes we can look at things and say, well, I've run out of time for that. I can't change at this point. This is saying, yes, you can. We always have the opportunity, no matter how old we are, to change direction, to go towards something, to be reborn as someone new. In fact, there's quite a few people. I mean, when we look at, and I'm trying to think of someone off the cuff, and of course I can't. Maybe, and I always forget her name. But there was the one woman, I always want to say Mother Teresa, but it's not Mother Teresa. There's another woman who has a similar name to that, where she started painting, I think in her 60s or 70s. And she's well known for that. Like, she became famous for her paintings in the later part of her life. And probably nobody knows what she did before that point. So there's something here kind of coming through like that, where we go through periods of our life, but we kind of have to continue to be reborn. We have to continue to grow and evolve spiritually as individuals. Otherwise, we just stagnate. And there's something about your current experience where you might be actually even being reborn into a new, more empowered version of yourself, where this might actually be letting go of a lesser empowered version, where maybe you did let other people call the shots, or you did have less self-confidence, or you just simply were more naive. You didn't have the experience you have today. And there's something about being able to say, yeah, that was me then, but this is me today. And I'm going to choose the path that's more in alignment with, again, the person I am in this moment. There's a little bit of a similar message coming through that came through with Capricorn, of really being able to stop and look at who you are now, kind of where you've come to this point, but also choosing a path that fits who you are now. You know, when you think about it, if you are the person who's retiring and you're no longer going to be associated with identifying with, let's say, a career or a job you've long associated with, well, you're not going to choose the path that takes you back into working again, right? Unless you really want to do that. But you might take a path instead that now leads towards you doing something new in your life, being the retired individual, being the person now who just travels, being the person who gets to wake up every day, and instead of being on call, you get to have that drink with dinner and you get to kind of celebrate with everybody, and you don't have to be the one who's, you know, at 9:00 at night having to go to bed with their beeper on. You know, there's something here around really understanding where you are in your path and really opening yourself up to that. Where are you on your path? And opening yourself up to continuing down it now as the individual you are, and not kind of clinging to that past version of yourself, but really kind of wiping yourself clean. And very similarly with a rebirth, it's time to let that version of yourself go. You know, this energy can be like the person who keeps talking about their glory days, or they keep talking about, you know, like, yeah, you know, this could actually be the person who before retiring was like, yeah, I'm so stressed. I can't stand the fact that I can't go on vacation and I can't do this and I'm on call all night long. And then suddenly they retire and all they're doing is is talking about the good old days, like, oh, I really miss being in there in the office. I really miss being with the people. I used to do this. Or the person who instead is still complaining about that, where they're like, man, the medical field needs to change. Like, I don't understand. Like, they're still reading articles about, hospitals, and they're still reading articles about what they used to do, and they're just frustrated. And it's like, dude, it's time to let it go. Not your burden anymore. So that's really what I'd say. 2 things for you to focus on this week, Aries. What is no longer your burden that you don't have to complain about, you don't have to care about, doesn't factor into where you are today? And what part of yourself are you still clinging to that needs to be released, to allow you to and really understand, because it's where you are today. Where whatever cycle you're in, this could even be where you're becoming a new parent and you're like, okay, my focus now is on the home and family. It used to be on my career path, but now I have to choose ways forward that literally support my home and family. So really look at where you are, get a clear idea of that, and get ready to release anything that is no longer, again, not your monkey, not your circus. All right, I'll leave it there, Aries. I hope you have a wonderfully illuminating week ahead. If you'd like to watch the full collective reading for the week, you can find that on my channel, along with the full monthly tarot scope for each sign. If you'd like to book a personal reading to get a more illumination around yourself, you can click on the link in the description box below to visit my website. Otherwise, I will see you all next week for the next Tarot Bite reading. Bye, Aries.